It's junk. You never get good tea in
Oh,
America.
that's sad.
Yeah, it's like 6-7 months old.
Well, I heard tea doesn't expire. Is that wrong?
According to Sri Lankans, the tea that you drink isn't even real tea.
Whoa.
Because as soon as it leaves the
Those
plantation...
are fighting words.
Yeah, and I've had fresh tea. Like, people have come from Sri Lanka and brought us tea, and then you drink it, and it's like wine that you drink at the vineyard versus wine you buy at the supermarket. It's not even the same product. It's called the same thing. It's like construction. It's like anything else.
Right.
You're never going to get the real thing unless you know what the real thing is.
Right. And good thing you said that. What a segue. You guys are already experts at this. So I want like 1 or 2 sentences on who you guys are, what you do, and then we're going to get into the 3 questions that we want to focus on for today. I have 1 additional question from our sticker, and if anybody else has questions while we go through, I'll check in the chat before we leave. But basically, I want to just kind of get right into it because everyone's got some stuff going on. But you guys have some good stuff to, tell us about. So why don't we get into who you are? Tell us about Excellent Remodeling.
You want to give this story? So happy Easter, everybody.
Yes.
We actually moved to California from Florida about 3 years ago, and 4 years ago now. Yeah, Excellent Remodeling was not in the picture.
Yeah.
We were doing a couple entrepreneur coaching business, and we had transitioned everything to online business. Like, we didn't even want to deal with people. Everything was online.
No people.
We're doing internet sales, drop shipping, and it was like away from dealing with the day-to-day of humans. We moved to California, and we didn't know anybody. We lived with her aunt, and her aunt had a few friends here, and Antoinette told him, my husband can fix some things around your house. And I had a very small amount of tools, and we moved here.
Well, wait, go back. You've been in the industry for many, many years. He grew up in the industry.
I quit the industry.
You didn't just come to California, open up a company, and say, I'm Excellent Remodeling.
So I skipped a whole bunch, yeah. I grew up in the trades. My dad was a carpenter. My mom's dad was a carpenter. My uncles, carpenters. I just grew up around it. Everyone I know growing up, their fathers were in construction.
Cool.
And so I went to trade school on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Grew up on the Cape building beautiful homes. Moved to Colorado when I was 19. Ended up working in the plumbing industry out there for a few years. Came back to Massachusetts, worked in plumbing, framing, custom home building. And then I moved to Florida in 2008. And everyone knows what happened in Florida in 2008. Money dried up. So I was like, I'm out of this trade. This is horrible. Why would you want to do this? You would lose money going to work. Like, it was just better to stay home and not make any money because you would lose money if you were trying to compete. And everyone was cutting prices right to the bottom. It was the worst thing on earth. So I had to learn some skills. And I survived. I would work, and I actually met a guy that kept me busy for 3 years. We did a huge 4,000 square foot house. We touched every inch of it from top to bottom. We dug a basement in this house, put an underground shooting range in the house. Like, the house was sick. So that kept me going, and then I went through a really bad divorce. So after that point, I was like really done with the business. I'm like, life was just not going the way I wanted it to. So I would stay busy, but it was no business. It was handyman or just one person at a time business.
Yeah.
When I met Antoinette, she knew my background in construction, but we were trying to do something new for both of us because she had just recently been through a transition also in her life. And so to transition together, that's where we built this other company. We've been through so much. We learned some things, went to some classes and some schools, and it was an interesting adventure. That was the company name was This Interesting Adventure, which is still her tag.
Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't know that was actually your past company, but yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, I have it tattooed on myself. Like, it was a pretty big deal. We traveled the country, we worked with some really cool people, and we learned a lot of what we took into this business now. And we're very grateful for that time, because with every failure comes a massive success. But while you're in the failure, you can't even see. You're like, I'm drowning, this is not working, but you can't see those skills are going to transition to something else in your life. And the benefit to go through that together and to grow, when we finally got here and did a few little jobs for people just from word of mouth, Antoinette was the one that really pushed me because the contractor hired me to build a kitchen at one of the universities. I'm like, I'm not licensed, I don't have any tools. He's like, no, I've seen your work. Because she had pictures of my work. I didn't even have pictures. I was like so over construction.
Proud wife, you know.
So this kitchen, it was pretty big. It was in like a student cafeteria at one of this.
It's at Keck University.
Yeah, Claremont has
Yeah.
5 prestigious universities, and there's a couple other ones, but there's a ton of schools here. Kids come from all over the world to study medicine at this one particular university. So it was like a $10
And
million.
just so everybody knows, you guys are California based. So Claremont is when you got to California.
Yeah, now we're in LA, Los Angeles County, on the outskirts. We don't live in the city by any means. We live in the suburbs. And we have grass and white picket fences. It's not anything to do with the city.
Are you allowed to water your grass? I heard you're not allowed to water your grass in California.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in the summer. So, but that was gone. I think the drought is over.
No, it's back apparently. I don't know.
I don't know
You
how
just never know the
it
bureaucracy around here.
It rained here for 5 days in a row. I'm like, how could there be a drought? You ever seen the show Goliath?
No.
It's a Netflix series about Billy Bob Thornton's an
No, it's
attorney.
Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah.
The water industry debauchery is a real thing. Like, people steal water and they charge you for it, so you have to pay a lot for water. They've basically dried up all the rivers. Los Angeles consumes music, movies, clothing, and water. You know.
All right, so you got to California, you started working on this project. Excellent Remodeling Inc. was born, I guess,
the general contractor said, "You got to go get your license." And I'm like, I didn't come here to do construction. I don't even like it. Like, I'd been in it enough, and I worked in 3 different states. I'm like, over it. I'm just over it.
He's tried to quit it so many times. It's just, when it's something's your calling and you're passionate about your calling, but don't want to show people how passionate you are. It just naturally happens, right? So
yeah, I like the art. I like the building process. I like the art of it, the creation, but the people, like dealing with the money. And we were coming from Florida, where it was very economically challenged, and I didn't have any clue how money flowed out here in California. Money flows here like crazy. People spend ridiculous amounts. Like, it doesn't even make any sense coming from the East Coast, where people are more conservative with their spending.
Yeah.
Growing up in Massachusetts, you build a home that's going to be your forever home. You're going to give it to your kids, and their kids are going to live in it, and it's the way of life there. Where out here, people are about the flash. They don't even. And I say this with all respect to California tradesmen. Most tradesmen here haven't seen a New England quality home, and the detail is totally different. Now, there's pockets of Beverly Hills where those people have traveled the world and they know what good craftsmanship is, and they bring the best people in. But for the most part,
not just Beverly Hills, I'd say like
Orange County. I mean, there's some pockets, but it's very.
We've met some really talented craftspeople.
Absolutely. But to see the level of tradesmanship and craftsmanship of the homes that you're working on in those East Coast old school 200, 300, 400-year-old homes, they just haven't seen it. And it's not a good or bad thing. It just is. Like, we went to England last year, and to see the craftsmanship of a 1,000-year-old building, and you're in it, you're looking at it, and that joint is so tight, and there was no caulking back then. Like, that is a totally different trade than what they're teaching out here, because the homes here were built by developers. And developers were concerned with the bottom dollar, and they were like, okay, we can build this tract of 1,000 houses. How much profit can I get off the top? They were never concerned with the home quality. Where in the East Coast, the original homes were built by people that were going to live in that house. And so to live in the house, you're going to build it at a totally different standard than if you're just trying to make profit off the top.
Right. Well, let's talk. That was kind of our first topic, was kind of the design build process, because you guys don't just build fast and quick. Like, you're building for customers and for clients, and I think you have a specific view on designing and building. So let's talk a little bit about that first topic of, why the design process maybe takes a little bit longer, why it's really important to the construction process, especially, in what you guys are doing.
I think you should also just, in that answer, say that you have to niche into.
Yeah, so what we did when we decided to get this company, but basically George, the contractor on that project, he made me get my license. He's like, you have to. So we got the license, and we, taking our old knowledge from our other company, there's something called an avatar in marketing. And your avatar is your number one client. Who are you selling to, and what is the product or service you're going to bring to that client? Right. So before we even built Excellent Remodeling, we drew that avatar on a notebook. We spent weeks designing this company from the ground up, and that was the strongest thing for anybody watching this that you can do, is instead of just trying to sell something to anybody, forget that. sell a thing to a person, and then find a lot of that particular person because they're out there.
Yes.
Good advice.
And so doing that, we decided on our avatar, living in our area where we're up against the mountains, and there's some homes here in Claremont. So Claremont is a town that is modeled or was built from people from New England. So if you come to California, there's two areas in LA, Claremont and Pasadena. There's another town. The homes are actually look like they're in New England. They're old wooden 3-story homes, and they're beautiful.
Oh, wow, cool.
And so we said, that's our ideal client. We're going to build this company for that person. And it's very interesting today. There's a street in Claremont. We have 3 homes we worked on that same street, and it's our ideal client. They're a little bit older. They have money to spend on their home. They're going to live in their home.
For our home, yeah.
And they're not going to flip it. They're not concerned with getting the lowest cost product, but they want something that they can live with the rest of their life and really enjoy that process of the remodeling and the process of living in the home. Is that fair? That's the shortest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back to her question.
The design process matters because if you're going to live in this house, so if you buy a tract house built in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, most of those clients hate a lot of stuff on the house because it wasn't designed for living.
Right.
So we go in, we sit with them, and we actually shop for our clients. We want to know that we like you. We're going to go in your house and tell them we're going to see your dirty dishes, we're going to see your dirty laundry. We need to like you, you need to like us.
Right.
So let's sit down, and it's just like a personality. Your design of your build is going to have its own personality. And so if we can extract some information out of you, answer that does a lot of the design with the client and walks them through the process, and we can answer those 1,000 questions, but bring it down to like 10 or 20 questions, because you know as a designer, there's the littlest nuances that you may or may not like, but as the designer, your role is to eliminate 8 of those things and only show 2 out of 10. You know, instead of bringing 10 options to the table and confusing the client, you want to bring 2 or 3 and make them comfortable in their decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I always do this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I also wanted to add, like, I think a lot of times people just think that we just go in and put it all together, and it takes months or weeks sometimes to design something that people are going to love and also, share about with other people, because that's most of our clients come from word of mouth as well. Because if we like the customer, we know that their friends are quality. We hope they're quality, that we would want to work with them too. But at the same time, what we've learned is that you have to have patience in this process, because sometimes we're not being paid upfront for the design process. Like, you're an interior designer, we encompass our design and our build and our concierge service all in one.
Right.
So sometimes I've had meetings. I think one design of a kitchen took 30 hours. Like, I was about to rip my hair out.
Not in one shot.
But
broken up over.
Yeah. There's so many decisions. And like, Tim from Imperial just joined and he said hello. He was our last guest last week. And, there's so many decisions that go into a kitchen that sometimes I think people don't realize. They're just like, I got to pick a couple cabinets, get my appliances in order, I need a countertop. But like, when you really dive into what goes into just creating a functional kitchen, number one, not even just your dream kitchen, it's like 1,000 decisions. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. People get so enamored with looking at HGTV and all these beautiful like magazines that are out and social media, and they think it's just like we like everything in that microwave society aspect. They think a kitchen or a bathroom or anything they're remodeling in their house is going to happen like that. But then when they realize it takes a while, sometimes we've dealt with customers that get impatient. They're like, I thought this is how it is, and Travis, I have to be like the PR person and
I'm the worst. Don't get involved. I'm like Michelangelo. If you stop me in my creation process, I might choke you.
I literally have clients call me and say, "We're scared to talk to him. Can we talk to you?"
That's amazing. I love that.
So I'm like, yes, no problem. So I pretty much am the interpreter.
She's the PR rep.
Because I have to take them off the ledge of like jumping or like going after them and being like, listen, this is not what we talked about for 20 hours.
I'm like, I promise you, I've done this before, just let me do this. It's gonna look beautiful at the end, but in the middle of it, I read Joe Edwards talking something about it's all fun and games at the beginning when you're in the harbor and you're cruising speed.
Great.
And then when you come out of the harbor and you're into the ocean, it's hell breaks loose. You know, back down the hatches. The client's seeing their project upside down. They've never seen the inside of their walls. They're losing their stuff.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's a roller coaster, literally a roller coaster. It's like the beginning of the design is always like everyone's on a high, everyone's loving each other, and everything's great, and we're all talking in concept, and then like shit starts to go down once demo starts, and it's like this issue and that issue. Especially, I mean, you guys know you renovate, so it's like, you know, sometimes there's things that other contractors did that now you need to fix, and the client might need to pay for, and they're like, "What the hell is this? This isn't what we talked about." Like, and it just explodes, and everyone hates each other. And then once everything starts to come back together, but everybody's back in love again. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the worst feeling, like walking into a beautiful house, for example, and then like seeing maybe someone who did some work several years prior that was not done correctly. And you have to always be politically correct, you know, or like you don't ever want to bash anyone in the industry or, you know, point out their mistakes, because that's something we definitely try not to do. You know, if a client says, oh, blah, 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 it's not like we won't say they're not right. We just will be like, we'll just be quiet. You know, be like, that's up to your opinion at this point.
Right. Just fix it, do it.
Yeah, because like, I think that's why craftsmen, tradesmen especially get bad reps, because people do bad work and then they go around bashing each other. So like, consumers don't know who to trust or what to trust. And it's really important when we do see someone's mistake to word it in a way that they also realize it's fixable. You know, it's not permanent, because that's what scares people. They're like, oh my gosh, my house is going to crumble because a nail's popping out of the wall, you know?
Yeah. Or they paid for a subpar service and they don't understand the difference. There's levels to this game, just like everything else. If you buy a car, and a Toyota is actually the same as a Lexus, but a Corolla is a lot different than an ES350. Like, it's a totally different product, maybe built in the same factory by the same people, but the level of perfection and the level of craftsmanship, it's always going to be different at every level. So, you know, you're in a wealthy area.
Right.
You're going to pay a premium for a reason. You know, there's 1,000-year houses in your area that will be there for the end of time, because when they had the original construction done, they wanted a premium thing that was going to last forever.
Right. So this isn't on our list of questions, but like, this is always something that's interested me, is like, how do you know what's the best level of craftsmanship? Like, is it because of your experience just doing this over and over for so many years? Like, you just know at this point due to experience? Because sometimes like I don't have formal training in interior design. So one thing I don't fully understand sometimes is framing. Like, you'll open up a wall and someone really good like yourselves can probably look at the wall, and in 2 seconds you can identify something that wasn't done correctly, something that needs to be fixed, something that's a major issue versus a minor issue. Whereas like, it takes me some time where I need to call on a framer to ask those particular questions. Like, how do you know like what's good and what's not good?
You said the most important thing, you call someone. So Instagram's awesome. I remember you did a project with Zach Detmore, and you guys opened up this house, and Zach has a good background. He's worked in a lot of different industries, and that's why he's a good renovator or remodeler. But the steel they put in the ceiling, you know, you're not going to know. So I was on a podcast the other day, and I think it was Modern Craftsman, they were talking about steel. And even in the steel industry, those guys will ask other guys, you know, and there's always a senior. So the gray hair is important. I've got people in my life that have more experience than me.
I got some right now.
And now that I'm getting gray hair, I'm knowing some of those secrets. And the problem with this trade, it's not expanding like it should. The secrets are going away, which is so unfortunate, because the old guys are dying off that know a lot of these things that were like passed down trade secrets. And it's not that they're secret, but you've got to ask the older generation, people with more experience than you.
Not necessarily older, the more experienced, you know, like age is not a number.
Yeah.
Age is just a number, you know. There's
time
people
spent,
people that have seen more in that expertise or that specialty
And
that you have or I have.
We're like doctors, so we open you up, and then I've got guys I talk to daily. Well, we're bouncing stuff off each other, and it's just a nice camaraderie. It's the mastermind, you know. It's more minds together make a stronger mind. So pretty
So
powerful.
I'm just looking at the comments, and Green Street I think it is Joyner. He says we use the car analogy a lot with clients. And your friend, SoCal Handyman, says Green Street is a great budget analogy. So it sounds like everyone's agreeing with you guys.
Yeah, champagne taste on a beer budget. And I know I've spent time with both of these guys, and they like to provide the top level service. But sometimes, even us, if the person doesn't have the budget and they tell us this is what we've got to spend and this is what we want
to try and bring the best value for what they want. But
sometimes it's just not there, you know? Like, one thing I miss out in New England was hardwood floors. People don't put hardwood floors in their houses here. It's just not cost effective for what they want. They don't want to pay that. So
what are they using?
Laminate. And laminate's all over the country. You know, we've been putting laminate in for, I don't know, 20 years now in the industry, but no one knows what laminate's doing. Like, it's off-gassing for sure. It's a man-made product, but if you put a wood floor in your house, it's a 100-year floor. Okay?
Yeah.
You can resurface it every 10 years and it looks brand new. Instead, people put laminate, and every 10 years they're ripping it out and putting another laminate
Well,
down.
because they're so cost conscious. They're thinking up front, that's so much money to put out, you know. And our retailers and suppliers market these laminate floors at such low cost, you know, that they have access to the amount of everything. So they're like, oh no, we'll go with this. They don't see the importance of looking down the road, whereas in 5-6 years, sometimes 10 years, depending on wear and tear use, they're having to tear it out and redo everything. And then they're saying that contractor didn't put it in right. But meanwhile, we're trying to tell you what's right. And you're like, no, this is what I could afford.
Yeah. But I'm surprised it's a thing in California, only because I know, like, California, anytime we get a product or we're looking to buy a product, there's always this warning label of, like, whether or not it does off gas or it has a certain level or if it passes certain, like, environmental codes. So I'm surprised that people are, I guess just because I'm on the East Coast, I'm surprised those on the West Coast and in California are not more interested in eco-friendly materials or things like that.
There's pockets of people.
It's eco-friendly. So like, we have Cali Bamboo here, which is a great product. We love them. It's eco-friendly, whatever, but they're not. This is just a fact. If you take a piece of wood and you take a piece of composite, the composite's got stuff in it that we don't know what it is, you know?
Right.
So you got your kid like we have Saltillo tile in this house, which is a natural product made from clay. You could let your child crawl around on it. You don't have to worry about them sucking something that you don't know what it is. They could lick it.
Right.
But you put these, we just put a floor down the project we just finished, and it's a Pergo product. It's a great product, and it's made, it's not scratching for the dogs. It's like, it's very hard. It's incredible what they do with these synthetic products.
It's a laminate?
Yeah, laminate product. It's incredible. It looks good. It's got different grain variations, but it's basically plastic on your floor, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what laminate is.
Like, the people want the look, but they don't want, they don't want to pay for it. There's people out there that'll pay for it, and that's never an issue. There's always different economic levels. But instead of wanting the look, people should go back to the why of, this is going to be a good product for the lifetime of the home. It's a bigger thing. I mean, I take this like to heart, or remodeling, like it's.
But it's a catch-22 because Travis always says like, oh, this tool broke on me, or this blah blah blah, and I'm like, they wouldn't have a business if it didn't break. Whereas, would we have a business if things stayed forever and no one wanted to renovate? You know?
Yeah, because styles will change. Yeah, you still put
like,
paint on the wall.
Yeah, but paint is one thing, but flooring is another thing. You know, carpets another thing, wallpaper, all that stuff is trendy. So like, as much as we are like, oh yeah, we want it to be lasting, at the same time, as selfish as it sounds, I don't want it to last. How can we all stay in business and, you know, like bring value of what we can bring as far as being creative or, you know, whatever we could offer to the world, you know, like it's hard. It's hard to say.
Okay, now this is a great debate. I'm going to have a question for you both. We all love IKEA, okay? We all of our kitchen, no, for different reasons. All of our kitchen,
not for furniture.
Kitchen plates and forks and knives all come from IKEA. But we don't have any IKEA furniture in this house. Like this table, I built a bunch of furniture here. It's a forever product. Yeah. So it's a catch-22. Like there's people out there that they want the IKEA furniture for that point in their life.
Well, yeah.
But then they're going to be at a certain point in their life, and the product we're selling is for when you can afford whatever you want. It's going to treat you well for the rest of your life. This is what we're able to provide you. So yeah, I
Yeah.
understand both sides. You know, trailer parks. I lived in a trailer home when I was in my 20s, and I live in Colorado. Trailer parks have a purpose. Like, it's a affordable home. You can move it wherever you want, but it's not a forever home. Like, you literally,
For some people, like
they
you can't
literally
say that.
fall apart
Some
around.
people enjoy that.
No, I lived in one. That was cool.
But
like,
you were 19. It's
yeah,
different.
but where we lived, you couldn't afford to put a house where we lived. Like, that was the affordable thing. So
Yeah.
at that point in your life, whatever kind of flooring you want, it's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah. But I also think like the idea of things lasting forever, or like the timelessness of something, is also just kind of romantic. Like, I love a timeless look, but at the end of the day, like, you know, my style and my taste changes even as I get older. Or, you know, right now my house is very beautiful. It's really not functional, but I don't have children. So when I have children, I might have to get rid of all my beautiful stuff, or I can just say, you know what, I like to live with beautiful things, and my kids are just going to have to learn to, like,
don't touch,
deal with it, or I'm going to be that old Italian lady with, like, the plastic covering in my life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well,
that's
you
what makes us humans.
Yeah, I know, right? You have to live in our space. And so that brings me to your last point, which was design for living versus selling. So I thought that was interesting, and I want you to talk about that.
I actually have over there on the island in the kitchen is an HGTV magazine, and I'm subscribed to that magazine because I want to know what consumers want. Because, like you just said, your style and the consumer style may be totally different. And unfortunately, with this whole American dream, buy a house, it'll appreciate, you can sell it, make money, people have been lied to that the only reason you should buy a house is to make profit off of it. And I don't know how you guys feel about that out there, but in California, real estate over the last 50 years has an astronomical appreciation curve. So the $1 million homes people are living in now, their parents or relatives bought them for $50,000 in a lot of communities, which is unheard of in other parts of the world.
Right.
And so this has been ingrained in people. Oh, I got to sell my house. You know, what if I got to do this to sell it? They forget the whole time they live there, they may not like the product that they just built. It's like going to the store and buying a pair of pants and says, when I lose weight, I'm going to wear these pants. Like, it's the same thing. It's foolish. You're going to wear the pants now if you buy them that fit. So if you're going to renovate your house, make it so you can enjoy it. You know, it's the family's time together in the kitchen or in the living room. That's priceless.
Yeah.
And so if you're building it for someone else, you're now becoming
you're not ever going to
a developer.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the developing or real estate world, don't do that. Like, that's not your profession. You know?
Yeah.
How does it work out there in New Jersey?
We have a ton of flippers, especially in the North Jersey area. So I think what Anthony and I have done and what we're looking to do is, I guess essentially it's house hacking. So it's like you buy something, you live in it for 2 to 3 years, and then you move on to something else. But that's, I think, simply because we enjoy old homes, and I feel like it's my duty to save as many of them as I can. Yeah. And the only way to do that in a way that, one, like, I can control the product, but also, two, like, we can do it in a way where we can afford it, because old homes out here, you know, you're buying at least $400,000 or up. Most of them are 5s in the nicer neighborhoods. And then you have to put $200,000-$300,000 into them. And then you hope in 3 years you might be able to sell them the 8s and then continuing to move forward. But, you know, it's a heavy level of investment here. So, you know, but in my town alone, Rutherford was pretty popular. I'd say, like, well, it wasn't very well known until a couple of years ago, I guess you could say. Really, we found out about our town like about 2-3 years ago. So, but before then, you could buy big, beautiful old homes for super cheap. It's a great school system. It's 26 minutes into New York City, and these houses were going for like $200,000-$300,000. And there's a bunch of local flippers that have just taken advantage of that market, and you know, they've torn apart, I think personally, the beauty of these old homes, and they've replaced them with just crap. And you know, every time we see another house go up for sale and then disappear off the market, and then you know, we see certain trucks outside, or we see it back on the market in like 3 months, I just hold my breath and I'm like, oh, I know what I'm gonna see. I know what I'm gonna see. And you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? You know, people who have money will continue to buy and flip, and it's their business, right? So you can't blame them. But it's personally for us, I think it's like my mission to just be able to like go in there, put in our level of detail that we love, and hope that we can pass that on to somebody else, and then be in a financial position to be able to buy another and save that and move on. But you know, there's flippers everywhere. They're everywhere.
And I think it's a good battle because there's less of us and there's more people that want a good product.
And that's what you and Tony Macaroni apparently, like, you may be flipping or house hacking, but you're adding,
renovating.
you're renovating, you're adding value, and you're creating like a timeless feel no matter what. So if someone came along and bought that house, because I've watched what you guys are currently doing on your house, and it is beautiful, and it's you're welcome, and they're just going to be like, wow, I want this house. Like, I would pay the premium price to live in that house because now someone's done all the work for me, you know, and that's my forever home. I don't have to change maybe some flooring in a couple of years, you know, or 20 years from now, God willing, you know, like whatever it is.
Right. I think that's the goal, is to show people that like you can put in personality and you can maintain an old home's character and still update it. Like, you don't have to gut an entire old home. Like, you can, there's something really special about keeping something that's appropriate to the area in the home. And there's something special, I think, about keeping like a really cool staircase. It just gives the place personality, and you don't have to live in a house that looks like every other person's house. Like, why do you want that? Don't you want something of your own? So,
yeah, if you take this back to the origins of humans, like way back, if you were living in a cave or a tent or whatever, not everyone was the same because your personality would reflect in your dwelling.
Yeah.
And going to Europe was so cool because the doors are just so awesome, and you can study doors. The doors are an entryway to your space, you know, and it says a lot about you.
Yeah.
And it's so neat to see conservation versus the demolition. You know, there's old websites save old houses and all this, but you can't get that back. Even the wood in the home literally is gone. So the old growth trees are gone. Like, there's things that you want to save. It's like seeing an old car on the road. Everyone turns their head, oh, that's cool. You know, my dad or my grandpa had that. That's like an old house. So we're fighting the system of consumerism to build more affordable tract homes, but there's always going to be a place for people that want a custom built, high quality product.
Sure.
So what we find is we go into tract homes where people are now personalizing what they want, their feel, their look, and I think that's what allows them, when they go to put it on the market, people are like, oh wow, it's so different. It doesn't look like, you know, the norm.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that people who are hiring you to personalize their tract homes or whatever, you know, their little white box, what are they asking you to put into the home that is reflective of their personality or character? Like, what do you find is one of the most requested things that you end up putting in to personalize?
Trim. Definitely
one
trim.
thing, there's no trim out here, so they don't use casing or not a lot of crown. And we don't put it in on every product, but one thing I try to do is either put something wood that's real in the house or build them something that is their own for the project. So
cool.
We have a wood shop that we build custom furniture out of, and we'll either make them a piece that'll go in the project, or like we've had requests for shiplap a few times. We don't use MDF shiplap. Like, there's something about real wood, and not everyone can tell the difference, but it's like sweaters. If you see a sweater, you're in New York City, you could buy a sweater for $1,000 that's hand knit by someone in Ireland, you know, that they sheared the wool and they dyed it themselves. When you feel that and look at it, it looks awesome. But you can't put your finger on why it's awesome, because you can go to Target for $29 and buy a sweater that looks pretty close, but it's not the same.
Right.
You know, there's something about that. Like, in this house here, I've touched a lot of.
This is a 100-year-old door.
So this came out of the old pantry that was originally in the house.
Oh, cool.
And I made a piece of art out of it. So Antoinette bought the words, and then this is all original wood. So things like that, where you can't buy it, but people want that look. You know, they're going to Home Goods and buying one for $59 or whatever. It looks the same, but it just doesn't look exact. If you line them up side by side, there's just something different.
Yeah, totally.
So in New
Yep.
Jersey, you know that you guys are in one of the oldest parts of America, and you can build a new one that looks almost the same, but it's just missing something.
Right. I do feel like that's why we like to renovate, and I've never had an interest in new builds or building my own house, because I just feel like there's certain things about an old home that you just won't be able to replicate in a new, or it's going to be extremely expensive to do it. So it's like, just start with something versus having to rebuild something.
Yeah, to go on the back of your question, we get asked to do additions. We advertise on House. We get a lot of inquiries for projects, and we actually don't do additions because at that point it's becoming a commodity. And so one of our things when we first sit with a client is we say, if you want a insert word, kitchen, bathroom, flooring project, whatever, we're not your company. But if you want your bathroom, kitchen remodel, and it's going to be yours, we'll talk about doing the product. Because if you're just looking for a project, I don't want to do it, because then I'm just becoming a cog in the wheel of this consumerism, building and how much per square foot.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We can't compete. We're going to hold your hand, and Antoinette's going to take your call, and you're freaking out. There's a hand-holding process that's going to occur that...
You answer the phone. That comes at a premium.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah, the commodity, I don't know the percentages. Most of the industry is a commodity. How much is this? How much is this?
Well, also, it goes back to answering the phone comment. It's funny. I catch myself getting so frustrated with companies that we have to deal with that I have to call. And it's either automated or no one's there, or, and you're like, So imagine if the homeowner had to go out there and do every little bit of what we have to do and had to call, like no one would renovate their house. They'd be like, screw this, we're done with this. We're just going to live like this, or they'll do their own job and then be like, I hate this. But at the same time, I'm recognizing the value that we also help bring, because we're like, we answer the phone, and even when we're tired, even when we're busy, we respond, we'll reply, whatever it is, text, email, phone calls, in person, we at Excellent, we make it happen that way, and I think that's what always like makes people like, whoa, you guys show up, like,
that's why you have so many repeat clients. It sounds like you guys do a lot of business with people who are longtime clients, so thank them.
Yeah, one of the secrets I learned a long time ago is it's cheaper to keep a customer than to get a customer. So hold on to what you've got. There's people out here scrambling for work all the time. Like, what about the people you worked for last year? Call them, see what they need, service them. We have clients that you'd be surprised how many people right now that have been dealing with something in their house that they're completely sick of, that no one's asked to fix it.
Right.
Well, they may not have the time or the effort. They don't want to put the effort in to pick up the phone and call someone. But if you call, it's like, oh, now I remember, yes, I need that. Like I had that situation the other day. A client called complaining about something electrical, and I had to call our electrician. Our electrician lives in Torrance, which is not very close, but he was out here to do another job for us, and I called him, and I called the client, and she's like, oh yeah, we don't have any outlets that work in the kitchen. We just have one outlet.
You're living like this. Like, let's just get this fixed.
One outlet.
She asked us about this. I'm sorry.
So one outlet in the kitchen?
Yeah, apparently the circuit went out like recently, and they've been dealing with one. Meanwhile, they called about it before this quarantine thing happened, and we understand, like they have little girls and they're just nervous about exposing different people to the house. So that's another thing. People, like they're like scared. Are you healthy? Like all this stuff now are like, But it was funny because she's like, oh yeah, we are just plugging in our coffee maker when we need it, and our toaster and our microwave. I'm like, okay. She's like, yes, I need the electrician. But see, if you don't follow up, they just get comfortable and they live with it. And they're like, okay, this is the norm for them.
Right. I think I hope a lot of people are now that not necessarily everybody's slow, because construction is still considered essential, right? In some states, I guess. So in New Jersey it is, you just have to practice social distancing and whatever. So, I'm hoping that people are taking the time to connect with maybe their past customers and just say like, hope things are well, hope you guys are okay. And I don't think it's the time to sell. I think it's just the time to tell people like, you're still here, you're still in business, you're still working, and when they're ready and done and this is all over and we can go back to being live in person, if they have something that they were thinking about, at least, you're constantly top of mind. So.
But also, this is also a time not to continue to put yourself out there, even to, yes, the old customers, but even to new customers. Because when this is all over, people that didn't stick around, either they're going to go out of business because they didn't know how to sustain themselves, like with the customers they currently have or could have had. And then they're going to be like, I have no work. But meanwhile, like Travis mentioned, we advertise on house. We've literally gotten 5 inquiries for renovations.
Well, the last major renovation in the last week.
Yeah, in the last week. And we're
wow.
This is
people are sitting in their house. I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, you wait to see how busy this is after. People are sitting in their house that they don't even like, and they're like, my house sucks. Like, I need to do something about it. And they've never actually sat home. They're so busy chasing that rabbit wheel, and working. And now they're sitting around looking like, man, this house needs something.
So that's so don't stop marketing either. Put yourself out. Even if you're not going out there to do the work, you could do Zoom calls. You could do FaceTimes. Like, show the property. Like, see what it looks like. Okay, this is what the estimate could be. Because like once you're interacting with them, they won't forget you.
Yep.
Yeah.
The moment you're like, oh, we're not working right now. We obtained a client, another condo development because the electrician didn't show up because he was scared to enter the person's house. Well, guess what? That guy, 10 years, lost that job a contract, and we gained one. So it's like, you just don't know. You don't want to, yes, you want to be wise, but you can't be stupid and scared, because like at the end of the day, you have to keep your business going.
Yeah, totally. It will be over, hopefully, someday soon.
It will
be over.
Well, put it this way, let's say coronavirus lasts forever. Let's just have this hypothetical situation. Are you still going to live
Leaving
in a
the meeting.
You're still going to live in a house.
We can wear bubbles.
The lights still need to go on. You still need to take a shower, and the roof still needs to be dry. So this isn't one reason why construction is a great job for all you young people out there. I hope you can watch this video. This is an essential thing. You're going to live in a house the rest of your life, and someone's going to need to fix it.
Very true. Yeah.
Machines will never build a house. They may build a dwelling, but one thing Antoinette and I have tagged is we're going to make your house a home. And to make a home, you need humans.
The other thing we tag is we always, whenever we sit with our clients, and they will tell you, we have clients that call us up just to tell me, hey, I got cookies for you. Like, that's awesome.
You told me that. That's amazing.
Like, at the end of, she just emailed the other day about a project, and she's like, oh, we would make you cookies, but, like, oh, okay. But, at the end of the day, we always say, in a year from now, if we're in your neighborhood, we want to be able to knock on your door and say, hey, you want to have a cup of coffee or tea in my case, or would you like to grab a meal together? And that's the type of clients we have decided that we want. And don't be afraid to also fire clients, because I've sent emails to clients where we've had it to here after we're done with the project, and even if they have more and the money was good, I've nicely said, thank you so much. It was an honor working with you, but we cannot work with you going forward. I'd recommend you work with another contractor.
Wow.
Because like, you just can't be afraid. Like, that's just it. I think in this industry of service, sometimes contractors are looked down on by people that have like different genres of degrees or whatever it is, and they don't realize that without the contractor, sometimes they don't even have a light bulb in. So like, you can't be fearful of losing that client, because there's so many people that need you, that want you. So like, at the beginning, I made that choice. I said, it's not worth my headache, it's not worth like my stress, and there's other clients that need our energy, so this client is done. And you can't be afraid of that.
I think the good thing about this business is that there's so many terrible contractors and bad people out there that when someone finds like a solid contractor, they're going to keep you for a long time. So
they keep you busy, and then they don't want to share you sometimes.
I'm totally guilty of that. Like, there are some people that will DM me about Jersey City and New Jersey contractors, and like, if we're friendly and I'm friends with you, I'll give you the name of the contractor that I worked with, because he won't come to Rutherford. He won't leave Jersey City. He has such a big book of business in Jersey City that he lives like an hour and a half away He will leave in the morning. He'll be in Jersey City all day, and then he will go back home. But he doesn't take work anywhere else. And I'll tell some people who I work with, but some of them I'm just like, you know what? It took me a long time and a lot of money to find this guy, and I'm not giving you his name.
I feel like that about certain people too that we work with, like, because thankfully we found some great people, subs and stuff that we have now also become friends with.
You hold them tight.
They're like, you're not leaving.
Yeah, because God forbid. I mean, we want everyone to be busy. We want everyone to make money, and that's why we're here, right? But sometimes it's like, you're just like, oh, well, if he gets too busy, he gets distracted, and I'm going to be last on his list. So, yeah. I think there's a little bit of that, but, it's with very few people. Most of the time I'm giving away our contacts, but sometimes I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Because people are paying you for your ideas, not for your service. Yeah. It's the system in your head. So you know the process and the system and the contact. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you know.
Right.
That you can't
not just my contractor. Yeah. So, all right, guys, I have one more question that came through from SoCal Handyman, if he's still here. He had asked about how to be more disciplined in his business, and he had actually mentioned to me that I guess you guys had spent, Travis, some time together previously.
So I don't even know how we met, just on Instagram, but we had him help with a project, and recently he came out for another project, and we've sent him to places, and he's got a background that's very interesting where he didn't learn, he learned on the job, thrown in faster than he even imagined, and then all of a sudden he was doing things where he's called SoCal Handyman, but he actually is a kitchen installer. So to learn, and I worked with him the first day, and I was like, yeah, you're a carpenter, like, you know things, whoever taught you these things, this is real carpentry. And to learn that and to know that skill, like, Jesus was a carpenter, like, it's a very prestigious thing. Sometimes people forget that this is not something you can just learn overnight. We're literally like doctors. When we go into your home, we're going to solve a problem in that home. A home is a big moving thing that's got a lot of working pieces, and how to get all those pieces fit together. There's some things you got to learn,
But Aldo's question about how do you keep your business disciplined?
So the discipline is when you put your finger on it. So there's a word called entropy, and this is energy. When you inject energy into something, it'll give back to you. And in your life, if you're not injecting energy into something, it's never going to give you anything back. So if you're not injecting energy and all your focus into your business, and when we opened Excellent Remodeling, it was 100% after hours, eat, sleep, do Excellent Remodeling until we built this brand. And we've let off the gas a little bit because we've got a lot of good clients, but it's still the main focus is to grow this thing bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, you can't get complacent.
And I want it to outlive us.
Right.
And there's some things in the pipeline that are going to outlive us forever. I mean, we get calls now. The guy was like, you want this project? Like, I couldn't imagine 3 years ago if someone asked me if I want that project, but we had to prove ourselves. So coming here from a new place, I've dug ditches, I've been in attics, I've done all the nasty things where people wouldn't want to do, but I learned this from my mentors before. I had mentors that came to America with $0, now they're multimillionaires, and this is the things they did. So I was like, if they did that, that's what I'm going to do. And I could come to California, know 0 people, and build a business from $0 up to wherever we're at.
Yeah.
And this it's a formula, it's just a simple formula of do the work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. Like, in business, I know that there's a lot of tradespeople that have stay-at-home wives or, wives that are involved in their companies. One thing I learned is don't be afraid to go to the job and learn every aspect of the job. Because like when Travis got injured 2 years ago, he couldn't go to work for almost
I had 2 knee surgeries. I was on crutches.
Yeah, like
couldn't walk for a while.
4 to 5 months. And I had to go to the jobs, and sometimes I had a lot of pushback from men who didn't want to listen to me, because they're like, what do you know? But I would point out their mistakes, and guess what, Travis? I would drive him over there, and he'd point out the same exact mistake. So, like, it's good to train or teach your significant other or whoever it is to see the things that, are important on a job or making whatever you're doing complete, So
yeah.
Because of that, they quickly realize, oh, okay, she does know what she's talking about. I'm like, trust me, I'm his eyes. Like, I know that he taught me. So
Yeah.
he was able to, you know, sit on the couch and be on his codeine trying to recover, you know, not worrying about, is there money coming into the house? Because the discipline was, I was going to learn what he was doing, and he was going to learn. I mean, he doesn't really want to learn what I do as far as the administrative stuff. He doesn't want anything to do with that. He's like, just pay it, you know. But like, it's important that each other knows what's going on, or whoever your partner is in a business, because if one goes down, someone's got to sustain that company.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
So to build a business, you need more than one person. You need systems. So even if it is you doing the work and the paperwork, you better have everything in your laptop. Because if something happens, like if you lose your one notebook, you know, your business is gone. So building systems is very important. And we've had mentors that were in the military, and this was drilled into my head. Systems will beat everything every time.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a system and you go in just trying to wing it, you know, so when we go into a renovation, there's a huge system in place before we even show up. We already know what's going to happen. I already know my days, what's going to happen this day, what materials we need, and that's come over time. And that's the after-work study. That's the study of the industry. That's looking at what other people are doing that are successful.
Yeah.
You just got to put that energy in.
Yeah. I feel like we could do a whole session on systems, because you and every other successful contractor I know has systems in place, and it seems like that's how you grow a business. So we'll have to keep that for another time. But
unfortunately, you said grow a business is the most important thing. So many people are focused on, like, I love cutting tight miters. It's so fun. But how many tight miters can you cut? Like, get over it. How good of a carpenter can you? How good, you know, you can cut wood. Great. Learn how to invoice your client properly so you receive the check so you can pay your mortgage. You know, like when you go to the grocery store, can you buy whatever you want?
Or pay your people that work for you without saying, here, I have to wait till a check comes, you know, like, you should be able to have that in reserve to be like, okay, every week, my guys never worry about a paycheck. You know,
that's running a business. That's the part that's lacking when the people are so focused on, in IG anyway, a lot of people are focused on the craft. The craft is great, but you can only get so good at the craft because there's some guy that's better than you at the craft, and you'll never be as good as them. But in business, anyone can win at business. If you look at Jeff Bezos, the guy was a nerd. So when he was in his office with his little desk selling books online, everyone thought he was a joke, right? When you look at the old interview. Now look at him, because he mastered the system and he studied business.
Yeah, very true. I just want to shout out to everybody that's on here, because we'll wrap up soon. SoCal Handyman, thank you for sending in the questions, and thank you guys for joining. Green Street Joinery has also sent in some comments, so when you guys are done, you should look through. But
I'm trying not to watch. We have another screen here with the other phone, so I'll read these later.
Yeah, no, they're good. A lot of just agreeing with what you guys are saying. So Bespoke Finish says hi. Matthew Collins Design says hi. Hello, Imperial Kitchen, if you're still on. Capic Lawson, great show. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on your Easter and introducing me to the new tea. It's delicious. It says highly caffeinated, so I might be up all night.
If you finish the whole glass, you'll be vacuuming the carpet or something.
Yeah, I'm almost done. So
did you leave the tea bag in?
Yeah,
always.
Oh yeah, so
am I not supposed to?
That's why I called it the coffee or tea. You taste how stout it is, right?
I feel like, it's very malty, but I feel like it doesn't taste as strong as I thought it was going to. It's still very.
Later.
No, it's good.
Oh,
it's going to hit you later. I promise you. I didn't realize how many things I drank. What was that? I don't do I didn't do that tea. I actually did Pau de Arco, but it's that stuff. You guys are going to be zooming.
That's so funny. All right, good. Well, I mean, that's fine. I'm up all night anyway. So, so this was Numi. This is the brand that you guys. Yeah, right.
This is
Numi.
one I just found. I only
Puerh.
Yeah, Puerh. I found this at the supermarket. I usually buy it off eBay because it comes right from China, and it's like real Chinese tea. This I found in the supermarket a while ago, and then when you did your tea thing, I ordered this because I knew you could find this package.
Yeah.
It was at the supermarket.
Nice. Yeah, I found it on Healthy Planet. I wasn't able to get this.
I probably bought the last Amazon one.
Yeah. So anyway, let me X out of this. Oh, no. All right, guys. Well, thank you
Thank
again. I
you.
appreciate it. We'll record this, so it'll be on my YouTube channel, and I'll let you guys know so you can send it out to all your friends and fam and clients. But I appreciate it. This was really fun. Lots of good info. And if anybody doesn't follow Excellent Remodeling, you guys are awesome. And this interesting adventure, is that the Antoinette? Is that yours?
Yes, that's me.
That's the lifestyle.
I do more encouragement posts and like inspiration. That's about
Yeah.
it. But
It's still all good.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thanks for having
Thank
us on. We'll
you.
see you next time.
All right.